welcome back to InsideFlix. We're going to be doing our weekly box office report. Rich, tell us which films ranked in the top 5 in this past box office weekend.
This past weekend, The Black Adam came in number 1 with 67 million. Coming in number 2 is The Ticket to Paradise with 16.5 million. Number 3 was Smile with 8.4 million. Number 4 was Halloween Ends with 8 million. And rounding up the top 5, Lyle Lyle Crocodile with 4.2 million.
All right, so let's start with Black Adam. This was a little bit lower than expected, but I think it's still a respectable opening number.
Yeah, at first I thought that was going to do around that much, but you guys convinced me that it was going to probably be a lot more. But I was right the first time. But Ticket to Paradise, I really thought I was going to do better than that. I thought it was going to be at least 20, but it's still decent, especially for a romantic comedy.
Raymond, you being a DC fan, is this number for Black Adam respectable for you?
It's respectable, I think, for Dwayne Johnson, because I think I was reading that this is like a career best for him as a leading man, not necessarily in like an ensemble film.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's good. And if this plays like Hobbs and Shaw, I think the movie will be profitable. And I think everything that Black Adam sets up is very promising. I don't necessarily love Black Adam. There's stuff in the movie that I really, really loved and really enjoyed, but it's not the best comic book movie. But I hope it does well, and I hope that it does get a China release date, because I know if it does, it's going to perform really, really well there, because Dwayne Johnson films perform incredibly well there, and this could probably make like 200 million in China if it gets that release date.
Well, yeah, the best thing going for it, Black Adam right now, is that it has no competition for the next 2 weeks up until, of course, Black Panther opens. If it follows the recent tracks, it's going to be like a big drop.
Oh, let's hope not.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is going to have a pretty kind of normal drop, right? But like you were saying, it's 2 weeks until Black Panther 2 arrives in theaters, and every film insider has been saying that Wakanda Forever is going to be huge. So I suspect Black Adam is going to do fairly well for the next couple of weeks. Now, is Black Adam going to reach that covenant $1 billion mark for its entire box office run?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, it's not going to reach Aquaman status, and that's for sure. And then, which was,
though it did have the same opening as Aquaman,
but
Aquaman, had just crazy legs because it came out during Christmas and it had really good word of mouth, and people just kept coming back to that movie, and I don't necessarily see that for Black Adam, mostly because we have Black Panther coming out in 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it's making an enormous amount of money for WB and DC. But let's talk about Ticket to Paradise. It's a soft opening for George Clooney and Julia Roberts, and it goes to show you that rom-coms they're not in fashion anymore. Although I think this movie did fairly well in international audiences. I think it made over 70 million internationally. But this is not a great number for them.
I think their fans kind of went out and to kind of come and see this movie, and I mean it shows that they at least still have like a committed fan base. I didn't necessarily think this was going to be a big hit.
Yeah, me either. Let's quickly talk about Halloween Ends. This is a huge drop, 80% drop for its second week. Clearly, fans have kind of rejected this third installment of the trilogy. Look, this reboot trilogy has been divisive among fans, and it really seems like this last chapter kind of have either pissed off people, although there's a minority group who kind of defends it and wants to support it, but it's a
hey. But it is crazy though that it still has a drop like this during the Halloween season, and It's like, damn, it Smile's the one like really coming in and making all the money and getting horror fans, to come see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sucks for Halloween. It sucks for the final chapter.
Yeah, I would say Smile's like the surprise hit of the Halloween season. Rich, tell us the rest of the top 10.
Coming in number 6 is The Woman King. Number 7 is Terrifier 2. Number 8 is Don't Worry, Darling. Number 9 is Amsterdam. And number 10 is Triangle of Sadness.
So Terrifier 2 is this little was it the little engine that could? This is a surprise hit of a horror movie. Let's talk a little bit about the success of Terrifier 2.
I haven't seen this kind of big deal. It's got that vibe of like Blair Witch.
Yeah.
How Blair Witch came out of nowhere and from a nobody and blew it up. So it's a weird word of mouth horror film that surprisingly bringing in some new fans for it.
Well, and look, let me say this. In the world of film right now, the box office success of Terrifier 2 should be the biggest story of the year. I mean, this is a really extremely low-budget movie. I think it was made for $250,000. It really stars no one you really heard of, and yet it increasingly has made money for the last couple of weeks. And I think it has a tremendous amount of word of mouth. And sure, yes, it's a disgusting horror movie with a lot of gore, a lot of gross out scenes. It's your kind of classic throwback of bad taste splatter film.
Yeah, I think it's the best movie to watch during Halloween season.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I mean, it's definitely is the movie that has everyone talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because like movies don't even really get released this way anymore.
Exactly. If you know, for a low budget movie like this would normally go to a VOD streaming platform, and so the fact that this is actually making money in theaters and having people write up articles about how people are throwing up in theaters, I don't know. Yeah. I found that very encouraging to hear. Isn't it supposed to come out in more theaters this week?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's supposed to be expanding to I think like a couple hundred more theaters, and might even I think go to 1,000, but I'm not sure.
All right, let's look at what's coming out this week, Rich. Tell us what movie's coming out on wide release.
The only film coming out this weekend is Pray for the Devil, which is opening up wide, and then Till and Tar are expanding wide this weekend.
Pray for the Devil is this new exorcism horror film. I think it's from the director of The Last Exorcist, so it might do pretty well, but I still think it's going to be Black Adam this week. This is for sure, right? I mean, Black Adam's going to be number one again.
Definitely
I think so too.
Yeah, there's definitely no buzz for Praise for the Devil. I mean, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, but it might be a surprise, a hit just for the Halloween weekend for Friday and Saturday. But I don't see it, having legs. If it does make any money, it's on its opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll still probably come in at number 2, and I'm guessing they'll probably make like 12 million if it does well. I think that would be doing well. 12 million.
All right, let's look at what's coming out in limited release.
Opening up this weekend in limited release is Armageddon Time and Call Jane.
All right, let's look at what's coming out on streaming. Rich, tell us what movies are coming out on streaming.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a big weekend for Netflix. They have The Good Nurse, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Wendell and Wild. Well, also streaming this weekend on Amazon Prime is Run, Sweetheart, Run. And 2 other films that are about to make their streaming debut is Barbarian, which will be on HBO Max, and Stars at Noon on Hulu.
All right, that was it for this episode of InsideFlix. We'll be back next week with more box office results and more movies to talk about.
Yeah, and see how big of a drop Black Adam has.
All right, bye-bye.